Hi, I'm Laurel Lamont, and I represent Upward Community and the local workforce in Temecula. So I live across the street at Warehouse at Creekside, and within the last 6 months, a number of residents have been kicked out due to being considered making too much. So we don't want more affordable housing, but at the same time, we're not creating housing for the workforce. And we're kicking people out of affordable housing for making too much money. Bree spoke here once, asking for rent control. She was a single mom with a child with a disability. Bolivia was my neighbor. She's a widow and an in-home healthcare worker. Both women kicked out of that apartment for making too much money. Where did they go? Corey Robinson spoke here. He didn't qualify. He makes too much. He's a grocer. I'm likely to be down at City Hall fighting to keep that roof over my head. I'm a grocer. Where are we going in all of this effort to do something more? Habitat just spoke. My best friend, George A. Harris, also was a grocer and took care of children as a second job. Told she makes too much, doesn't qualify for a Habitat home. Where do we go? When do we matter? When is this going to be a discussion? The workforce. When are we going to talk about housing the workforce within this community? What are we doing about that? Where is that discussion being had? Is a town hall going to happen so we can talk about it? Because it's not being talked about here. We want to praise city for segregating housing. Habitat only exists on the other side of the freeway. Are we talking about bringing Habitat into the rest of the community? When is this discussion going to happen? 8 years. 8 years I've been speaking here. What's going to happen when this building tries to kick me out? May I add, all those people that were kicked out were Black people. Does that matter? Is that relevant?
Hi, I'm Melissa Bourbonnais, and I represent Upward Community. To continue the discussion that Laurel just initiated, our question to you today, tomorrow, yesterday, last week, last month, last year, what are you doing, council members? What action steps, not words. You guys are great with words. Politicians across the board are great with words. What action steps have you taken to house the workforce that have not, key part, that have not been mandated by the state? We are in a housing crisis. We say it all the time. Upward Community is saying it on social media, during council meetings. We're networking, we're going to the workforce, we're getting word out. For anybody that might not know, we're in a severe housing crisis. And it seems like you know, because it looks like you're listening. But then I don't see, and I can't point to, and I don't think you can point to an action step that you have taken that has not been mandated by the state that benefits in any way the workforce when it comes to housing. The people that Laurel just cited, do you consider them? Do you think about them? What steps are you taking that the state hasn't mandated for you to take for workforce housing? It's not a rhetorical question. We want you, we need for you to answer it. You have an obligation to answer it as elected officials, to answer that question for your constituents, particularly the workforce. SB 9, you guys waited until the last second to pass SB 9 that came down from the state. And by the way, these are coming down from the state because the cities have been irresponsible with their power, because the cities have made decisions that have contributed to this housing crisis, to this severe housing crisis that you seem to be aware of but are taking no action to help solve. We need for you to answer that question. What action steps have you taken? Because you will talk about the workforce and act like you are here for the workforce. But if you don't back that up with actions, then it's just empty, meaningless words.